Hey everyone, Jaime Aroni here. Today I will be talking about recycling of plastic for my PowerPoint, which is going to be about the stages of recycling and how it impacts our environment. Plastic waste in the environment. I have seen that about 79% of plastic waste is released into the environment. Studies have shown the years between 1950 and 2015, 6.3 billion tons of plastic waste was generated, and about 79% of it was either stored in landfills or being released into the natural environment. What I found out is plastic waste doesn't degrade easily, and I thought it did, thinking, I always thought, oh, you just throw it into the incinerator, it's just gone. It just turns into, smoke or whatever. But no, actually, it doesn't degrade easily. So that kind of results into plastic waste is just gonna build up, and the more it builds up, the more we're just gonna dump into the oceans. And that's what I'm going to talk about next. How it's really going to impact the oceans if we don't do something about it. About by just trying to use it to its fullest, by recycling or reusing in any way that you think fits. The impact in the ocean. So what I've read from articles is that it is estimated that the oceans may already contain over 150 million tons of plastic, and each year about 8 million tons of plastic will end up in the ocean. Which, when I read about it, it's very surprising because I didn't think that much plastic is ends up in the ocean. I've seen just those pictures that you see, like in the news articles or social media, or whatever, when they say how to clean up the beach, and I just see, like, I see there some are covered almost the whole beach, but I didn't think it was that much to 150 million tons. So when reading about that number, it was very, very shocking to me. And with such big numbers that is being dumped into the ocean each year, these plastic waste is killing the sea animals. And it said that the sea animals have been found tangled and suffocated on these plastic items, such as plastic bags and rings from soda packs. And I'm pretty sure all of you have seen those pictures where the sea turtles or any other sea creature has those plastic soda can, like, holder holder rings, suffocating them, getting around their necks. And I've seen one where I think one kind of got stuck on there, and it just stayed there, and the animal grew and grew, and basically just getting tied on their neck to eventually just killing them. It's almost like a plastic noose. And also, too, I found out that sea turtles eat jellyfishes, and these sea turtles don't know any better and are assuming these plastic bags that are flowing in the ocean is the jellyfish, so they are going after these plastic bags and eating it, resulting into them suffocating themselves because of eating these plastic bags. And I guess resulting into eating these plastics and all that, it is said that plastic can absorb chemicals from pollution in the water, such as an oil spill, causing these who digest these plastics are going to be poisoned. And if you think about it, this kind of goes into us getting poisoned, to the sense of these sea animals are going to eat these plastics, which is absorbed from the oil spills that you hear. Like, all the oil rig, something goes wrong and the oil spills into the ocean. So plastic gets poisoned with oil. Sea animals eat this plastic, they get poisoned themselves, and then we eat these sea animals, which we would eventually get sick if it's any leftover residue. So that kind of goes from not only hurting the sea animals, but it's eventually going to hurt us as well. Microplastics. What microplastics are, some of them are small plastic pieces less than 5 millimeters long, which can be harmful to our ocean and aquatic life. I think all of us have seen, I want to say, this type of microplastics. It's usually in, think, like whenever you buy something from Amazon or anywhere, it's that small little baggie that contains them, and it says, like, do not throw away. Those are microplastics, and those small things are being dumped into the ocean. And of course, like I talked about the last slide, these small animals are thinking this is food and they're eating it. And there was one study that I was amazed about, was one of the small sea animals that is about the size of your finger have eaten about 84 small pieces of this plastic. And if it's, man, if it's the size of your finger, I don't even know how is that even possible? But looking at my finger now, it's it's kind of sucks because it's not food. And like I talked about last time, this turns into toxic little things. So it's just basically eating toxic little beads that are going to kill them. What to do with these plastics? So now that I've told you about how much is dumped and how it's harmful, it's now time to talk about what to do with them. And I think everyone, of course, knows like how to recycle. So in like all those grocery bags that you get, the water bottles, and any plastics that you get, you could always recycle it into something new. Be creative. I've seen people make little like succulent plants in them, or even in when I had to do like a teacher study, they've used the plastic bottles that they recycled from home or students that brought in for extra credit. They turned it into how to purify water, which was very neat because instead of just buying this one thing or supplies, already buying plastic to use again, you could just use these plastic water bottles because it's basically the same thing. So that's a good way to recycle those plastics. And I think all of you have seen this whenever you walk into like Target, Lowe's, or whatever. They have those three bins that you see in the front. One is trash, one is I want to say electric recycling, and then there's your, of course, your plastic recycling. So any store that you go to, if you don't feel creative to recycle, or you kind of don't want to, or if you just have it on hand and you just bought it and you're like, I don't want to carry it with me, you could always just throw it into these bins, which they themselves could either recycle, make something out of it, or they could just ship it off to some company that takes all these recycling bottles. I think one of the obvious recycling methods for like plastic water bottles is just refill your water bottles. I've seen many people in the CSUB gym just like they have like a plastic water bottle that they either bought at the student store in the front or whatever. They just drink it all, and then we have those water fountains, which is another good way to like spread recycling. You just once you're done with your water bottle, put it to your sensor and fill it up again. And that little gauge too is if anyone bothered to read it, that you're saving that much plastic water bottles by just refilling your own. So just refilling your plastic water bottles is just a good way, and I know I do it at home because after reading this, I was like, oh my god, I did not know we send that much plastic into the ocean. If you're not one to be creative to make something out of these plastic waste like me, you can actually take these plastic waste to these recycling centers and they'll actually pay you for all your plastic waste. So I think it's by the pound they pay you. And I believe if you take about 2 or 3 full bags of water bottles, they'll actually, I think I got $20 or $40 out of it. So if you're not one to do it out of the kindness of your heart, you could actually get paid for just these bottles. I guess that's a way of, that's one way like to recycle your money, I guess. Recycling plastic to fight COVID-19. So I found that this machine called the Precious Plastic Machine. It's like I think it's like a 3D printer where it makes stuff. So it's been making designers and makers have been using this to make face shields, hands-free door handles, and respirator masks. And seeing that all these local healthcare workers are in need of these stuff, so they've been making them, distributing them out, and they said that it's good that they've been making these face shields because the N95 and the FFP2, once it gets wet, you can't use it anymore. So having this face shield will 100% protect you from the splatters, and you can just always reuse it. All you do is just wipe it off and then disinfect it if you wanted to, scrub it off, and then use it again. So I thought that was very, very neat, and that plastic waste is being recycled even through this pandemic that we're all going through. Why should we recycle? If all the stuff that I've talked about hasn't convinced you yet, then I guess this will kind of help you think about why you should recycle. So, plastic can take anywhere from 500 to 1,000 years to break down, which I talked about earlier. So, recycling is a better alternative to use this plastic because what would you rather have? You mean use all the plastic they have, only one use, throw it out, have it gathered a bunch, and then end up killing sea animals and eventually affecting us, or just try to make something fun of it, or try to just keep using it as much as you can. Not only does the waste affect us and sea animals, it also affects the earth in meaning of the greenhouse gases that contribute to global warming and therefore climate change. And we've all learned about what happens in that instance. So this is just another way of trying to clean the air. And it also says that non-recycled waste can contribute to the air pollution, water pollution, and put animals and human lives at risk. So if we recycle, we can significantly reduce the amount of pollution our waste creates. So just all, all just help put a helping hand and just try to use. Either recycle the waste or just try to use the plastic waste to the fullest that we can get the most use out of. And that is the end of my PowerPoint. So thank you to everyone who came to this Zoom meeting and hear me bore you to death about recycling the plastic. So thank you to everyone, and I hope you have a safe rest of the week.